right, what's up, everybody? We are drafting best ball teams 3 times a week here live on the DF Summer YouTube channel. My name's Kevin Allen, aka the Geek. I had a little bit of technical difficulties getting started here with the computer going a little wacky on me. I've got the landscapers outside going crazy, noise blasting from everywhere, computer breaking on me, but we are here. We got it handled. And we're back drafting best ball teams live. What's up, the regulars, Soups, Rich, good to see you, my man. Tattoo, my man, in there. You know, there's a way now, I'm hearing, to show your comments on screen using this streaming platform that I'm using, but I don't know how to do it yet. So I'm going to try to figure that out at some point and kind of do that, but we're going to have to do a little bit of digging to figure out how to do that. So I have no idea. Guys, some cool stuff like coming up, really, or changes. I don't know how else I'd put it, but Underdog is back available in New York as well. So we can do a little bit of back and forth here, and let me know in the comments what you think. We can flip back and forth from DraftKings to Underdog. Underdog has some really cool formats that I wanted to dive into, this weekly winners format, a few other kind of formats that I think could be really cool. I'm trying to load up my rankings here as well. Get those going. You guys know, as the weeks roll on, there's a couple of names. You know, I start to get on different names a little bit more, and I've been doing a lot of digging in the dynasty streets. And the name that is sort of on the rise, I would say, in Dynasty is Trey McMillan, I believe, the Patriots rookie running back. Did I say his name wrong? Trey. I feel like it's Trey McMillan. Yeah, Trey McMillan. On the rise in the Dynasty streets, and I think we should start to target him more aggressively in the Dynasty best ball streets. He's a name we could see here. I've got him. Let's see. Let me just look at my rankings here and compare it to ADP. Is this my rankings? Yeah, they're still uploaded, so I don't need to change anything, right? Just making sure. 16, 14, 8. Yeah, these are my rankings. So where do I have McMillan here? I've got RJ Harvey, Ted. I don't know. I can't even find it. But no, we're thinking not text. What am I tripping right now? Hold on a second. Let me open up my rankings here. See, I should have been a little more prepared. The not Ted McMillan. I'm talking about. Of course, I can't remember his name. Looking for Trey. Hold on. Yeah, Travion Henderson. Trey McMillan. Yeah. See, this is what messed me up. Travion Henderson. Right? Running back, New England. Kevin, you don't remember the names by heart. You're an idiot. Sometimes I forget a name. Travion Henderson, the rookie running back for the Patriots, is getting a lot of steam right now in the dynasty streets. Right? He's getting steam because the word is, as a prospect, he's a 3-down back, and most importantly, he's an elite pass blocker. He's got a pass-catching skill set. So the thought is that Travion Henderson, not Ted McMillan, different guy. I like Ted McMillan too, different guy. But Travion Henderson, this is a live stream. Can't cut it out. It's all right. It's already been said. But Travion Henderson, right, getting steam. So I'm looking at where I have him right now in my rankings, right? I've got him behind Judkins. There we go. I love it, Ray. What's up, my man? I've got Travion Henderson currently, and I'm going to adjust this higher. So I've got Travion Henderson behind Judkins. Judkins is the rookie running back for the Browns, who doesn't really have any touch competition, but also is on a Browns team that's not very good. So I've got him behind Judkins. We're going to move him ahead of Judkins in our rankings. Probably going to get these guys ahead of probably Walker and Kamara as well. So I'm going to have some significant adjustments to my rankings here in the near term pretty much pushing Travion Henderson right up next to Chuba Hubbard and ahead of Kamara, Walker, and Connor and Judkins. Judkins, again, my issue there, I love the role. He's going to have all the touches. Everything's great, except Cleveland stinks. And so this year, probably. So it's hard to have a high expectation for a player, even on a great role on a team that's not going to be winning a lot. You know how I feel about running backs. I want running backs on teams that are decent. Yeah, Ray, don't you think Ramondre, though, is not good? Like, haven't we kind of seen that he's just not that good? His father's friend's death last season, head in the game. This sounds like excuses, Ray. You shouldn't be making excuses for players. Ramondre is dropping to the point where you can get him further and further back in the draft. And I think that's the right way to go. There's more upside with Travion Henderson. We'll see if it all plays out how it seems like it would, but definitely in the dynasty streets. And you know me, I am out there in those dynasty streets learning about the youth, right? Drafting dynasty teams all the time. And Travion Henderson has now risen up to pretty much almost pretty elite levels, right? He is now being taken 4th, 5th overall in your dynasty draft, really ahead of the elite wide receivers. So, Ray being from New England, you got the inside scoop. But I don't know. I found Ramondre Stevenson not that good last season. Like, they really need to move on from him. He's just okay, right? He's just okay. All right. So, other side note is, like I said, Underdog is back in New York. And so going forward on the show, we're going to do a little bit of back and forth. So it's not always going to be a DraftKings draft. We're going to do one more DraftKings here today, but it's not always going to be that. We're going to switch to Underdog. There's a bunch of cool formats that I want to talk about and really get into the strategy of them, those weekly winners and the weekly elimination ones that they're both really different. I need to dive in. I haven't had a chance before this episode, so we'll be doing that, though, as we go forward to keep things fresh, keep things different, although I want to keep churning out drafts across all of these. And again, after the season, we'll go back and look. Did the early drafts that we did, this early in the off season, it's in May or June, how did those do relative to the August, September ones, that kind of thing. So I'm really curious just to see how all of that plays itself out. I'm in, though, if you guys want to join this draft alongside me, I'm in the best ball play action. I guess we've done a few in here. I've got a few entries, but I'm only doing them on stream. So we still have a few of them available to us. Chip Kelly offense in LA. I don't mind Jacoby. Yeah, I mean, I think LA right now, it's the rookie, of course. I love Ashton Janty there. Jacoby Myers should be fine. There's no one else to throw to. They have a rookie. They have a rookie wide receiver there that's going, but it's Brock Bowers there. I think it could be good. Ooh, did we get a lot? Oh boy. All right. So here, oh my God. Here we go. Ivan Drago's with us again. What's up, Ivan? Of course, Soups is in here as always. We got my boy Sean Hoy in there. A couple of DFS Army staffers in here with us. Foggy Minded. What's up, man? I love it. I'm probably not going to be able to talk through what I'm picking next with all of you maniacs here in the draft with me, but I love it. I love that we're getting into drafting best ball teams and we're getting our NFL juices flowing. We're getting the juices flowing. This is all prep for listen, we could do 150 of these drafts and it's just one GPP. I fucking click on the optimizer. Bam, I'm in there. So this is just like getting the headspace ready for the season. Looks like I'm pick 3. Let's hope something good drops to me. But if you watch my latest short video with Bobby Wow, you'll know that Bijan, Chase, Barkley, who cares? They're all good. You can't go wrong with any of these guys, right? They're all going to smash. So who cares, right? Our first hiccups start with the next group, right? And there's no warts on these 3. Especially the top 2. Bijan, his only concern is, sometimes Algier comes in and steals the tutty, whatever, right? CeeDee Lamb, awesome. But we've also seen last season him just kind of have a down year, at least for half the year. Dak gets hurt a lot. Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery there, still stealing touches. Gibbs did not have people forget. Gibbs, look at the early part of last season with Gibbs, right? I remember talking about this during all the DFS shows. He was much more of a floor guy than a ceiling guy. He was getting you a really consistent 17, 18 points, but, had a little pop game there, but it was a really consistent 17, 18, except for games when Montgomery went out, and that's when he smashed. So I think people are forgetting that Jahmyr Gibbs is someone that has a capped ceiling when Montgomery is playing and healthy. All right, well, it went pretty chalk the first couple picks. I'm going to take Bijan here and just accept the chalk. Pick one. So Sean or Ivan Drago went, not really different, but Chase over Barkley. I have no problem with that, especially here on DraftKings with the PPR format. By the way, one of the things we'll talk about when we do some of those underdog ones is the difference in how you have to rank players in half-point PPR, FanDuel / underdog style versus full PPR, where half PPR really does favor touchdowns more than anything. Touchdowns are king. Tattoo, which one are you in? Ray, are you in there? What happened, my man? Are you in here too? Oh, Ray's. Yeah, he's in there as well. All right. So we got everybody in here. What's going to be fun, guys? So stick around till the end. We are going to analyze your draft. I'm going to pick these drafts apart. That's the fun part of doing these live, right? I'm going to pick your draft apart. I'm going to pick it apart. I'm going to critique you. And then you'll be in here to know. So this is a full army fucking, one of the negatives is, listen, in order to advance, we got to beat each other. And that's maybe not that great, but luckily we're doing these in the $3 contest. So we'll kind of throw a few of these away. Oh, yeah. You withdrew. All right. Tattoo's in here, though, hanging out. That's good enough. Get ready for some underdog ones as well, guys. DraftKings has not called me. They didn't sponsor. So, you know what? We're free agents. We can go to underdog. We can go wherever we need to go with these. Show comments on stage. Oh, shit. How do you do this? Appear on screen during your stream. All right. Guys, make a comment. Let's see if it shows up on the screen. New feature of this technology. Let's see if it works. All right, so draft is pressing. Brock Bowers at the turn. Don't mind it. Don't mind it. Achan, Ray, an early grab on Achan. Soups with the CMC exposure as well. Some names are dropping. I wish I was drafting a little higher. But definitely couple names here dropping. Good start for Ray. Brian BTJ right there. But, HN over here is definitely a little ahead of his current ADP. Malik Neighbors ahead of Ashton Janty. Maybe that's a questionable decision. Foggy-minded. I like the way you started your draft with Janty and Nico. So we're coming up in a few more picks here. I've got my rankings loaded up. We already know that's what's up, right? We got some names dropping a little bit further. Drake London has a lot of upside this year. Take a look at what Drake London did in the games with Penix. 13 and 18 targets last year. I think Penix started weeks 17 and 18. So there's a lot of enthusiasm, especially off this week 18 smash game, that we could see more of that. But, Drake London might be, Bob, an early grab on Bucky. And I am on the clock here. Chase Brown, Garrett Wilson, Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I'm just going to go with what my rankings say here, which is Josh Jacobs. He was a volume machine last season. Could take Josh Allen here. I don't have a lot of Josh Allen exposure, but I'm going to let it ride and see what happens. I don't generally like the way my draft looks when I take a very early quarterback. So for me, I if one really falls to me as a special value, I could do it, but I don't feel the need to by any stretch. So Kyron goes next. So we get Jacobs, Kyron, Chase Brown. Now, I don't know if this is because these are DFS Army drafts, and a lot of you guys are kind of with me on the rankings and whatnot, but I see Chase Brown going at this turn or right after the turn. on a lot of our drafts, even though his ADP tends to be middle of round 3. So I don't know if he's rising in the rankings or that's just a phenomenon of the fact that I keep taking him. You know what I mean? I'm genuinely not sure. Here we go. So we are pressing forward. I'm on the clock, and we got some choices here. Both of the elite quarterbacks are still floating around. Trey McBride is there. I'm going to go, since it dropped to me, I'm going to grab Lamar here. I don't have a lot of Lamar exposure, and the nice thing, oh, there it is. Yeah, a little comment on the screen. So there we go. That is working. We'll see if we like that format or not. Some of you guys say terrible things. Need to get that off the screen. We'll see. But anyway, so I did take Lamar. Now, so when I take Lamar Jackson, what that allows me to do is really not have to worry too much about correlation. Now, you guys are like, what? What are you talking about? You gotta correlate. You don't really have to correlate with Lamar. He's running when he's having his smashiest of games. He's usually running for touchdowns. I can look at correlation with, Rashad Bateman and Isaiah Likely types, Zay Flowers types, depending on how long he floats around. So we could get a little correlation, but we don't even need it with Lamar. But more importantly, I probably don't have to worry about quarterback now until the very, very last rounds of the draft. So taking an early QB, that's what that does. Josh Allen lasting a little bit longer than usual here. That's pretty interesting as well. So Trey McBride, that is well past his usual ADP. So that's that's a value pick for Ricky Bobby. Any kind of value pick, by the way, some of the things I don't talk about a lot on these streams, but they're really important, is differentiation between your lineup and like what everybody else with your starting draft spot does, right? So generally, if you're picking third, it's kind of like, oh, I got, if you're picking first or second, you've got Barkley, you've got one of these guys, like anywhere we can create a little bit of differentiation between what you're doing from your starting point and what everybody else with your starting point is forced to do, allows for some uniqueness without necessarily being stupid about it, right? Reaching for picks 10, 15, 20 spots ahead of ADP, that's definitely not something that is a good idea, but dancing around the ADP to kind of have your team look a little different from every other person that drafted from your spot, hopefully gives you a little bit of an edge towards having the uniqueness needed to advance all the way to a final in one of these. Remember that, the chalk isn't getting there. You got to make the playoffs, but then you have to beat other teams. You got to come in first multiple times in a row. You need a smash team. You need what happened last year with Chase Brown, where everybody who had him had this maniac show up and just like put up monster scores to propel you into the fantasy playoffs. And it did okay, and he still smashed for weeks 14 and 15. I think so he got you through. And this was a guy that early in the season really wasn't even scoring for your team. So it just was like this guy that came on strong late. You need those horses. A lot of times, the kind of players that do that are definitely these backup running back types. Picture, I'm just gonna throw some names out there. Isaac Guerrero, like McCaffrey gets hurt late in the season, and Guerrero comes on strong, and you're right about it. You know what I'm saying? And you're right about it. Or you have you don't have James Conner, but you have Trey Benson, and Conner gets hurt, and Benson all of a sudden becomes this supreme asset that was just a late pick for you that really wasn't doing anything until the second half of the season. So having players coming on strong in the second half of the season, that probably is the best recipe. Or of course, like catching the Jonathan Taylor smash game that propels you. Like this run for JT was insanity, and this is why people won. With Jonathan Taylor, 42 and 30, that was it. That's what caused you to win. All right, let's take a look at the players on my draft board. Obviously, my draft board is different than somebody else's, but I'm going to go, I have this thought that I can Do this. I'm doing it. All right. We started off. I now have 3 running backs and a quarterback, and I have no wide receivers. Kev, you're fucking crazy. This isn't going to work out for you. This is a disaster. We'll see. We'll see. Tattoo is dominating the chat. Rich McDonald said he's already finished out all the $3 ones. Are you guys, let me know what you think. Should I jump over to Underdog on these streams and do a little bit of Underdog action? Should we jump over to Underdog on these streams? Switch it up a little bit? Let me know. DK Metcalf goes after RJ Harvey. Ivan Drago, double tap, Hurts. Ted McMillan, love the Hurts pick there. Can't go wrong. Cannot go wrong. All right. We are light on wide receivers. So I'm going to go and see. This is, again, a jump of ADP. But since I have Lamar, I'm going to purposefully choose to go with Zay Flowers here. Kind of, I could have taken some other names. Yeah, I'm glad I took him from you. And Sean, yeah, you know what? I think part of the reason I'm the only one, there's not that many people doing the DraftKings ones is I think the other site is a little more popular. I hate to say it. I think it's just a little more popular. So when those streams are happening, like more people will be interested in watching them. The main thing that I wish DraftKings did this. I wouldn't have to go to Underdog. I want to advise them. They should. DraftKings needs to add those other interesting formats. Give me a weekly winners. Give me a eliminator contest. Switch it up. Back in the day on DraftKings, they used to have this awesome contest where you entered it week 1 of the NFL season. I think it was like $50, right? And each week, the bottom 50% were eliminated, and the top 50% moved on. And it was, and you did that for like 12 weeks, and then by the end, it was like 100 left, and then it turned into a GPP. Now, I love that style. I used to gas them up to do those contests. But here's what happened. DraftKings figured out, hey, we only make $50 off you once for the whole season. And you're making lineup. We don't want to give you that option, right? So they got rid of those contests, most of them, and they didn't promote them because they make less money on those. All right, fine. I still think they should do them, but at least do best ball ones. Where's the DraftKings reps? Guys, call me. I have ideas, right? Because I get why they didn't do it in season, and they don't promote that in season anymore. Oh, you put $50 up once, and you get to do all these drafts and blah blah blah, and you're not paying us each week. All right, fine, whatever. But for best ball, I'm only paying you once anyway, so you might as well give me some different formats here. These contests are going to be here from now until the start of the season. Like, what the fuck, guys? Come on. So anyway, let's see how the draft has been progressing. Jamo Williams, right? We're jamming. Jamison Williams. The coach saying this guy is going to take a step up this year. He's going to level up. He's going to be a new guy. All right, let's jamming with Jamo Williams. We'll see if that happens, but definitely the Lions coaching staff. The Lions coaching staff has been talking this guy up. So we'll see, because up till now, Soups, come on, bro. He did it this time. Last time, Soups was kind enough to allow Godwin to fall to me. But actually, this was Godwin's actual ADP. As you guys know, if you've been watching these, I firmly believe that Chris Godwin is going to be a potential league winner if he is healthy this season. My team continues to be light at wide receiver, so we're going to have to go heavy wide receiver for the next few picks. Let's see what's available to us as we continue on. We're gonna have a real fun analysis of all these drafts, guys. So draft wisely. Don't screw up. I don't want to. Maybe I'm gonna screw up. Maybe that's the one to make fun of. This is the first time that I've come out of the first 4 rounds without a wide receiver. We'll see how that goes. Montgomery. All right, not my favorite guy. So here we go. Looking at my rankings here. This is the Debo spot. A little risque with Debo. But new team, new offense. Love Jaden Daniels, obviously. He's the man. We know that Debo was good. So, yeah. Sean, this is a good question. I'm glad you're asking it. Do I think stacking is a must, and can you get away without it? I don't think stacking is a must. I think it's a benefit. But if you have like a Josh Allen, if you have a guy like a Lamar, it doesn't need to be stacked. If you have a running quarterback, somebody that will get it done, maybe unstacked, then you don't need it. And even though stacking is cool, I think you should do what I did with Flowers, which is stick within ADP. Don't reach 10 spots ahead just because you have a stack. Stick within ADP, take what the draft brings you, but try to stack it. Like if I have to jump 3-4 spots on ADP and I can get a stack, okay, cool, right? But I don't want to do it if it's forced, if that makes sense. Addison, Jerry Jeudy, Diggs, Dunze, Jacoby, Myers won't be there for me on the way back. I'm going to go with Jawan Jennings. A little risky also here, but Jawan kind of was the WR1 for San Francisco towards the end of last season. I'm not sure that I saw Ricky Pearsall stepping up and being that guy for them. And I'm not sure about the health of Brandon Ayuk. No, and he wasn't very good last year either when he was healthy. So, I mean, we look at Ayuk. He had a good game. And for the rest of the season, didn't do a whole lot, right? When he was healthy. And then he gets hurt, fine. But this guy may or may not be good. I don't know, right? Didn't do much. We look at Pearsall. He showed nothing. Debo's gone. And the one guy that did anything, Jawan Jennings, right? Let's take a look at what he did in those early weeks of the season, right? While Ayuk was still there, we had this 49.5-point insanity game, right? Then Ayuk gets hurt, and this guy goes on a tear. So multiple 11-target games, 9, 10, 10. Look at all these targets. So it was a down year overall for San Francisco, but I don't know. Risky pick, I guess. Taking him ahead of, K-Shack, Jerry Jeudy, though. The options are limited here in this area. There goes Travis Kelce. What are your guys' thoughts on Travis Kelce this year, right? What do you guys think about him overall? Obviously, not a great year last year, but we were judging Travis Kelce based on him being a high draft pick. As a not so high draft pick, his year was not that bad. Putting up some 20s here and there, if he kind of, and forget the playoffs, but if he kind of gives you a little bit of all this, his scoring was not that terrible if you're talking about him after Hawkinson, right? The issue last year was you were taking him in round 3, a little too high, and it just didn't work out. All right, so Sean, Jaden and Fields with only Eckler, Ertz as a stack with Daniels. Yeah, I mean, listen, Jaden Daniels does not need to be stacked either. He could put up big weeks, but would it be preferable? Yes. It's preferable. A little bit of stacking, but I think that's enough. Like Ertz, I don't know about Eckler, but like Ertz, that's okay. Fields probably doesn't need to be stacked. Fields, if I'm stacking Fields, there's only 2 names on the Jets that you don't even need to worry about. If you didn't get Garrett Wilson, fine. Then it's the rookie tight end that I'd be looking with Fields. There's really no one else on the Jets that is likely to be a pass catching weapon right now. If it were with Jaden Daniels, yeah, I'd try to get Debo or something like that with him. I would prefer it stacked. Yeah, I mean, Terry is going to definitely be the preferable, the preferred one. I think Debo is a risky pick, period. Debo is like high upside, but lots of downside too. So it's just a risky pick. I don't know how else to describe it. You're in danger with Debo. Is he? And the danger really for me is, I don't know if he's washed. He looked pretty washed last year, but maybe this team won't use him in the same way. The 49ers tend to want to run him and do all these rushing attempts. I don't like that part of his game. And if he's not scoring touchdowns, he's just not putting up points. So I don't know if his team will do that this year. All right, Jay Warren, fat bundles. I don't like that pick at all. All right, we are, oh boy, man, this is really interesting part of the draft. Darnell, I kind of want to take Ayuk here and just own San Francisco, yeah, I'm going to do that. And that kind of puts me in a spot where if none of you guys do it, at some point later on, we might grab the Brock Lobster to go along with that little stackaroo. All right, let's take a look at my team. And again, guys, for those of you drafting along with me, we're going to analyze all of these teams at the end. We'll talk it through. We'll go over it with you guys. So it'll be fun at the end of this to kind of talk through everybody's draft and see what we feel. And again, my opinions are, you know what opinions are. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Enjoy your draft regardless, but, you know, we'll have a little fun breaking it down. All right. I'm back. And once again, I pretty much need, oh, yeah. I was hoping. Nope. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go with Igbuga, going young, upside, wide receiver. So I've talked up Igbuga. It's funny. I didn't like Igbuga to start the season because I think he's going to be blocked by Godwin and Evans, and that's very likely. But I could also see a scenario where one or both of those guys get hurt and Igbuga just becomes a monster. So I think it's worth a dice roll on Igbuga there. There's not a whole lot left at the wide receiver position. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. I'm going to have to keep taking them though, because of the way this team is constructed. I'm very sketchy at the wide receiver group. So I need, quite a few of them to make up for the fact that I waited on wide receiver early. So we'll see how that tactic works out for me. Don't know. Let's take a look at the draft board and see Javonte. Who's doing Javonte? Yeah, I mean, you guys are on my... See, this is going to mess up my shit. Foggy-minded on... So you're... Yeah, Javonte. That's an early grab on Javonte versus his general ADP, but we're a little higher on Javonte than, let's say, the field has been. I think he's going to kind of rise up to where I think he should be. Javonte is one of the biggest question marks. People hate him, but he was coming off injury last year. The team used him weirdly in Denver. And I just think on Dallas, if they play him and give him volume, he might be fine. And they got Blue backing him up. They really have like a later round, fourth round rookie backing him up. Everybody's like, well, they're going to split carries. Maybe, but maybe Javonte is going to be Rico Dowdle from last year, which was pretty good, and somebody that you'll be happy to grab, very happy to grab in round 9. You know, some of these other names that are going right after Javonte, I think have much more sketchier roles. Najee Harris, probably going to be a 30% grinder like Gus Edwards style from last year, not going to get you any points. Mason probably needs an injury to AJ Jones, whatever. Needs an injury to the starter whose name AJ Jones. I'm having a brain fart. He needs an injury in order to get in the game. Charbonnet needs an injury to Walker to get in the game. So these are players at this point here where Javonte isn't. Now, Javonte doesn't need an injury. He looks like he's going to be the starter unless somebody is picked up by the team, but we can't assume that that's going to happen. Rookie wide receiver, Trey Harris for the Chargers. Sure, right? Why not? See who's still floating around. Some decent tight ends still there. So, yeah, Aaron Jones. I don't know. Yeah, AJ. I'm like AJ Jones. I don't. I had a brain fart, guys. Yeah, Aaron Jones. So, yeah. Do we? I don't think that Mason is going to be useful unless Jones gets hurt, which is fine. If Jones gets hurt all the time, he's old. I get it. Gets hurt all the time. All right. Really? You took Brock Purdy? Jesus. I was just about to take Purdy. Didn't think anybody would be messing with that. All right. Let's see what we can do at wide receiver here. Rookie for Chicago. Just next in our rankings. That's the safest way to go. After this, we need to, for my team, I'm going to need to fill in some. So I have a lot of youth at wide receiver on this squad, especially beyond the starters. I've got sort of a youth movement here with Igbuga and Lance Burden. Burden might actually, it's not, he should be the WR3 for Chicago, but I think there's a chance he might be the WR2. We'll see. A lot of enthusiasm, second round wide receiver. Although, again, second round wide receivers, no guarantee at all to get any playing time. None. Yeah, I have an issue with I've told you guys this. I kind of like see the first letter of the name. So AJ, Aaron Jones, AJ. It's just how my brain works. It's weird. And when two players have similar consonants starting their names, it just messes me up. I just forget who they are. All right, so we are coming back around. I need a tight end. Yeah. All right. Tight end is already kind of getting skinny. Should have taken Loveland in the previous round, but we're just going to grab the next guy on our board here, David Njoku, and kind of go with that. See, everybody talking about Ramondre. So when I look at Ramondre, there's a reason why Henderson is going in round 4 and Ramondre is still here in this late in the draft. There he goes. But yeah, hockey names are even crazier. They're all Russian and French. Got to pronounce those things. I've been working on my Russian and French accenting. I'm pretty good at both. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm an accent guy. I can do accents. Some accents. I can't figure out an Irish or Australian. I can't do it like American. All right, let's take a look at the draft board here and see where we're at. Yeah, Rashad White again, backups. So the running backs going at this point in the draft. So just keep this in mind. This is how the flow of the draft is. I would have loved to have gotten Loveland there. But the way the draft flows, we're in this part of the draft now where you're starting to see, second quarterbacks coming off the board. We're starting to see, backup running backs. Mason, all these guys are kind of backup running backs. So we're getting beyond the point where guys are going to be scoring for you each week and into this area in the draft where you're just kind of hoping to get anybody who's scoring for you at all at any point. Note, though, that when you get to that point, there's still plenty of tight ends on the board that are on the field all the time. These guys will last a lot longer, and there'll be tight ends available that are like viable players for a while. If I scroll down even just a little bit at wide receiver, there's almost nothing of value left, right? They disappear fast. Tight ends last a little bit longer. QBs last a little bit longer as well. We still have kind of a small, but still acceptable amount of quarterback available. We are in round 12. So we have 20 rounds of drafting. By round 12, the viable starting running backs are gone. Most of the viable wide receivers are gone. A few left, but you still have viable QBs and tight ends. So generally, that's why I think QB and tight end, you can wait on those spots because you can, while everybody else is kind of grabbing backup running backs, if you have 3 starters or 4 starters early, 3 or 4, you can at this point in the draft just start to kind of load up on still viable every week players. I really like Gesicki as well. I'm going to actually grab Mike Gesicki here. I just like Gesicki. Let's take a look at what Gesicki did last year, guys. Now, he did a lot of his work. Most of his best games came when T. Higgins was out, but 10 targets, 12 targets, 9, 8. So he had some good games. He definitely had some voluminous games. 9 targets. You're not going to get good production from him every week. That's why this is best ball. You want to get a few of those. All right, let's go back to the who's available list. I'm going to take my cheat code, Wan'Dale Robinson. I love that he was there for me. Yes, did I jump his ADP a smidge? Just a smidge, right? We're on pick 140. Actually, not really. Just minimally. But again, my team started off kind of weak at wide receiver. So I've got a guy like Wan'Dale who 11, 12, 11, 8, 9, 11, 9, 14, 8, 12. What were those? Those were his target numbers. This guy gets a ton of targets. Does he score a lot? No. But that was with Tommy Cutlets. I don't even know who the hell else they had it right. Danny Jones, Drew Lock, like a whole bunch of turds at quarterback for the Giants. Will they be a little better this year? I feel like yes. I feel like they'll be a little better, and that can only help Wan'Dale Robinson. So I like the pick there. You guys know this. I try to get Wan'Dale in every draft, and this is about the right spot, 147. So I'm actually happy with where I just got him here. Garendo, I like that pick for you. Iva Drago, steal him away from. Again, I talked about at the beginning, there are running backs available now that have the ability to sort of just take over late in the season because of an injury and lead your team to championship glory if you're right. It's a few of them, not them and not all. There's a few names. We'll be able to get those kind of guys even later in the draft. I like the Jalen Wright pick right there at wide receiver. Still some talent available. Still some talent floating around. Not a lot of it. After this sort of core little next 5 or 6 names, you're in the question mark zone. So the viable names are going to dry up pretty quick. Tight end, still lots of decent to good tight end talent available as well. So again, it's not hard if you hold off on tight end early. Again, we were just learning this in doing these drafts. What we're learning is that later on, you could always get tight ends. But, look at the list. Even Juwan Johnson, who's usually available with your last pick. Higbee, who's fine, one of the last picks. Schultz has good games once in a while. Okonkwo, fine. Taysom Hill smashed. Hunter Henry. So lots of good tight ends. I think these are some of the cheat codes that we need to employ when we're doing these drafts. Like, don't force your tight ends early. You can get a bunch of them late that are fine. Unless it's Brock Bowers or Trey McBride, you're probably not getting guys who are going to give you consistent scores. So you're better off waiting and taking a bunch of them late. And here we go, watching the draft continue on. I like Quentin Johnston for the upside. There's plenty of upside there. Tyler Algier, I don't know. Has viable weeks every once in a while, even with Bijan. We'll see, there's a 20 in there. Imagine Bijan got hurt. This guy would go beast mode. This is another one. We don't think of Bijan getting hurt because he hasn't gotten hurt before. But those are the kind of players you want to fill up your bench with late in these drafts, I think. Still plenty of good tight ends left. I might need a second QB at some point here soon. I'm still not worrying about it too much, though. I kind of feel like with the draft that I had, if Lamar Jackson kind of gets hurt, then I'm probably not winning anything anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. I still think there's some decent wide receiver talent here, and I want to kind of grab one of the last starters here. I'm going to go Xavier Legette, and maybe we'll grab a quarterback on the way back. I think these quarterbacks are going to dry out real quick. So I think I've got one more shot at a quarterback, and we are going to go for one of these names. Don't care who. Just got to get a starter there. So, all right. Bryce Young it is. Sam Darnold would have been fine. Richardson, acceptable, but you know what? Fuck it. Richardson, going for the upside. Kev, what are you, nuts? Why are you taking Richardson? Well, a lot of upside there. And if he gets hurt, whatever. I can back it up with Danny Jones. My phone just went crazy. No idea why. We'll figure it out later. Back to the draft board. And let's see. So after Richardson, there we go. We get the run on quarterbacks happening. That's fine. Expected. Not much left. Hopkins, mysterious. Knoll, the second rookie drafted by Houston. They got Higgins, and then they got Knoll. What if Knoll is the guy? Similar here. Army special, Pat Bryant, third round wide receiver taken by the Broncos. We'll see. Here's a little run on tight ends as well. I like Strange. I like Henry. So a couple good grabs there. And you see here, we're to the point now where if you're a viable player that's going to get any kind of playing time, grab them. Because that ends real quick. We still have some viable tight ends. Definitely a few. Wide receivers, not really. Not a whole lot of good left. Running back, we're even beyond, at this point, most of the acceptable backup running back zone, and we're getting into I'm not even sure if the starter goes down, if this guy will be the guy zone. So those are less sexy, I would say, than some of the earlier backup running back types, the Mason types, but that's why they're available here this late. Some names that I think, like J.K. Dobbins, will he get a job? What if, somewhere he might get a job? What if he goes to Dallas? Nick Chubb, everybody talking about Nick Chubb. I'm not sure that he's even going to get a job. Blake Corum, is he still sort of the full backup to the Rams running back? And Shipley, is he the straight backup? I like Shipley late as sort of an insurance against Saquon Barkley. So, yeah, definitely a part of the draft here where you're not really dealing with a whole lot of players that I can see a lot of playing time. But, if you catch the right one, you can do okay. Let me take a look at my team real quick. I've got 3 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, 8 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. We're very light at running back, but there's just nothing. I probably should have taken a fourth one, but I feel really good about the 3 that we had. We took them in the first 3 rounds. So outside of an injury, I don't really care that much. I'm going to take another tight end here. We're a little bit soft at tight end. Pick number is this? 190? Going Higbee. It's interesting that Ferguson's going ahead of Higbee in some of these drafts. It's just interesting. I don't like taking these later round wide receiver picks. They just, if I have to, I will, but they don't excite me too much. Again, not much going on at running back to even mess with. Good at tight end. If I need a crappy rookie running back, quarterback to carry this team, a team that has Lamar Jackson on it, I think I'm toast anyway. I'm going to grab Will Shipley here. I heard a strong argument for Shipley. Basically, the Eagles have nothing else at running back right now outside of Barkley. They got rid of Kenny Gainwell. Everybody forgot that Barkley, has had a tendency to get hurt throughout his career, but more so, he had a monster workload last year. And a lot of times running backs coming off a monster workload, they come back the next year and maybe they get banged up a little bit. So worth a shot. Shipley is a league winner if he becomes like the starting running back for his team. So I like taking shots like that, especially this late in the draft. This is beyond the area where my rankings are. I only rank the top 150. So where we're seeing these players here, this is the ADPs for underdog for DraftKings rather than Kevin's rankings on some of these names. Royals, 4th round rookie. Tesla, I believe he was, third round rookie for the Lions. No space on that team to get on the field. Maybe some space. Deontay Johnson on a team now. No, everybody forgot about Deontay. Maybe he's good again. He's a great player. I don't know what happened to him. Still some starters left, or a potential starter left here at QB. Jackson Dart, late season guy. Tight ends still have viable players. Multiple players who will, quote, be on the field. We have 3 tight ends, 8 wide receivers. We're up to 4 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. So I need to get another quarterback on this team, and then I'll have a luxury pick to deal with at the very end. We'll see. I haven't had a lot of chance to kind of look over everybody else's draft. We'll do that at the very end. Soups looks like 3 quarterbacks. You're looking okay. Rays, so far just 2 tight ends. Rays knows what's up. Wait on tight end position. You can kind of get that going. Foggy, 3, 5, 7, and 3. Again, everybody's got a pretty well filled out team here. Sean, Bob, we must 3, 5, 7, 2. Obviously, again, tight ends available late, so you'll be all right there. And Ivan Drago with a level build, 6 running back, 6 wide receiver build. So we'll see how all of this comes together at the very end. You guys in the chat can let me know who's your favorite. Which draft? Who do you think won this draft? We'll talk about it at the end. Yep, I'm on the clock. Noah Gray goes. Tight end, running back. I was kind of looking at wide receiver, Tesla, la. I forgot what I was going to do. Oh yeah. Just keep it simple. Danny Jones to back up. So this is a backup to Anthony Richardson. I've locked down my QB2 spot. I don't need more at the quarterback position with Lamar holding it down, then Richardson and Danny Dimes backing him up. I think that's fine. If Dart was there, Dart is somebody I'm interested in as well. A lot of ways to go with this pick. This is just luxury picks at this point. I can just grab a name that will be on the field for sure. And I think I'm going to go that way with Jatavian. I don't like that 4th tight end, but yeah. Or you know what? We're going to go Blake Corum for the upside. Blake Corum is an upside pick. It's as simple as that. If Kyron Williams gets hurt, Blake Corum could come in and take over that spot. Fine by me. That's enough. That's all I need for a late round running back. That's all I really need. He's got a shot. He's got a shot to come in and replace the starter. Fine. You still have a couple of viable tight ends, but that was just about it. They're almost gone. Wide receiver, we're in a zone here of guys who we don't even know if they're going to get on the field. Who the heck is Marks? Whoever that is, no. I'm liking this little chat thing on the side. It works. Back to the draft board. Yeah, we're coming down to the final round, and you're seeing some of these low upside, highly speculative names coming off the board. Nick Chubb. Oh, I know who my last pick is. I'm not going to say it, though. I'm going to wait until I'm up. Marks? Is that... Oh, young running back on... Oh, there he goes. Woody Marks. Let's see. 4th round. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I like it. Woody Marks. All right, let's keep him in our thoughts because Mixon is also a guy that's been hurt a little bit through his career. Fantasy Dog, what's up? Welcome to the live drafts. Let's draft together, my man. Huzzah on the subscriber. Let's go. He likes number 10, Soups. So we'll go over all these. We're not going to go over anybody we don't know, We're going to go over all of the drafts of the people we know that are in the draft with us today, and we'll talk them through. And you guys can vote in the chat. Like, who do you think was the best? Again, let's not over concern ourselves with some of these late picks, but who do you think was the best? Did anybody mess up? I'm not seeing any screwed up drafts, but we'll look at were we able to correlate? Get all that going. Final round. At this point, I'm just going to be in the, I want to make sure my guy is here, but I also don't want to give it away to everybody who's watching this. So let's see. At quarterback, you've got nothing really here, right? If you want to believe that Joe Flacco will start, Milroe could take over at some point in Seattle, maybe. Rodgers could get the job. So those guys are mildly viable, could get the job with the Steelers. Running back, Brooks not playing this year, doesn't even belong there. You know, ETN backing up Chubb. I don't see any hope for any of these guys. Maybe, no. Yeah, Jordan James was the only guy left there because San Francisco always seems to find some late round pick. At wide receiver, you know, you've got Mike Williams hanging around. Maybe Tank Dell, if you believe he could come back. Tutu Atwell comes in the game every once in a while for the Raiders, for the Rams, I mean. That Ray went suicide squad wide receivers. Going to see what that means when we analyze that draft. It looks like I am going to get my guy here. So Fat Bundles is not in here. So I'm going to say, so this is my guy here, Roman Wilson. Rookie last year. They're talking him up a little bit in Steelers camp. A lot of people think it's Calvin Austin, and he might be, but I think Roman Wilson has a shot to be on the field and doing some damage for the Steelers this year. Again, who's the quarterback? I don't know. Take our shots. Will Howard in Dynasty. Who that? Will Howard, the Pittsburgh rookie, 6th rounder. I wouldn't get too excited about a 6th round quarterback, no matter who he is. The number of 6th round quarterbacks that have had successful NFL careers might be 1. Oh, shit. Did I leave the draft? Wait a second. What did I do? All right, hold on. All right, here we go. All right. Guys, that's going to do it for this draft. And we're going to do a little analysis of everybody's draft. Start at the beginning, go to the end. Rays, you're going to be in there. Let's talk through what everybody did. All right, this is my favorite part of these drafts. Let's look and see how it went. So, Ivan Drago, drafting number 1 overall, 2 quarterbacks only. Didn't need more than 2. I agree with that. Hurts, Knicks, good to go. Start off with Chase, and then the Brown brothers. Jamar Chase, Chase Brown. Who can even say these 3? The Brown brothers, Chase and A.J. Brown. As you know, I'm not the biggest A.J. Brown fan, but I like that you got Jalen Hurts to pair up with A.J. Brown on the comeback. So that works for me. Good start. 1 running back here. Tet McMillan, solid wide receiver. So we got 1, 2, 3 really good wide receivers and a correlated quarterback to start. Aaron Jones, not my favorite running back. And again here, so my negative will be just that these running backs, you're going to need a little bit of help, right? I see you went very heavy running back late, so you kind of felt the pressure of waiting till Aaron Jones. I might have gone with, let's see, who went later? I mean, Swift, Pollard. Aaron Jones is fine too. I think this is fine, but, you know, a little bit soft. So I would have maybe hoped to get Mason as well with a draft like this, but pretty good start so far. 1, 2, 3. We got our second quarterback, a solid tight end there in Hawkinson. Pittman's a perfectly good play. Bajal Tootin, so serious upside at the running back position. And interesting that Tootin goes right after Travis Etienne. I could see anyway. Yeah, we're playing on Mason, I bet. Yeah, if you can combo Mason and Aaron Jones, I think, all right, I locked it down. You locked down the spot. So you grab Loveland ahead of me. I was going to take Loveland here. Fine. Likely. So you got maybe even too many tight ends here early, but a really solid trio of tight ends. Garendo, Hill. So upside running backs. I like Tillman. I like Lockett. Again, a couple of upside wide receivers. Either one of these guys could actually emerge and have a good year, especially Tillman. Lockett could have some good games. Really good pick overall. And again, upside running backs all over the place. This is how you want to do it. If you go heavy wide receiver early, just load up on all these turds late and hope that one of them is coming on strong. So good stuff, Ivan Drago. Let's see what I did here. We started with Bijan, Josh Jacobs, Lamar, and RJ Harvey. So very not a hero RB, but a RB heavy start. And clearly I had to make up for the lack of stud wide receivers later on by going wide receiver 5 in a row, here 6 in a row to make up for it. I have old, I have young. We got Flowers paired up with Lamar. We got Deebo Samuel with some upside, Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk, effectively locking down most of the San Francisco passing game, or half of it, right? Little upside player, rookies in Igbuga and Lance Burden. Igbuga, first-round pick. Lance Burden, top of the second-round pick on an ascending potential offense in Chicago. Now we had to figure out our tight end position. We got Njoku, Gesicki, Richardson, added in Wandale, a yeoman-like scorer at the wide receiver position, a real a value. I love him. Every single draft, always get him. Leggett has some upside, rookie first-round pick last year. Probably in a better role now with McMillan there, sort of taking up the attention spot. Will Shipley backing up, upside back up to Barkley. Then we got Danny Jones and Richardson sort of lock down a rushing quarterback back up to Lamar and some upside players there. All right. Let me know what you think. Here we got Sean, Bob We Must. We got a lot of people in this draft here. So Bob We Must starts off with Justin Jefferson, grabs Bucky Irving early. Tyreek Hill, a little bit of age there, but hoping for the comeback season. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers and 2 running backs in the first 6 picks. I think that's perfectly fine. If I'm taking Connor, I am going to be very, very careful to get Trey Benson on my team. Let's see. Try to get Trey Benson if you're taking Connor, guys. Addison, another good player. So really great wide receiver group here. Pacheco has some upside. Finally addressing QB with Darnold, Prescott, and McCarthy. I think that's fine. Tight ends, Warren, Pitts. Trying to see if I'm thinking. I'm not seeing a lot of correlation here. Dak, McCarthy. I guess you got McCarthy there with Jefferson. That's fine. Little backup running back action with Dowdle, Kareem Hunt. That's, all good. Demario Douglas, Wilson. Giddens is a sketchy pick at quarterback or at running back. But again, if Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, you never know. Theo Johnson, perfectly acceptable. Tutu Atwell. So pretty good draft here for In Bob We Must. Foggy Minded. Love that Army avatar. That guy looks badass, right? I like Leggett. Guy hunts and eats squirrel. Oh, really? Leggett is squirrel eater? I can't get on board with that, man. Ray, I can't get on board with eating squirrels. That's basically the same thing as eating rats. Like, if you're going to hunt something like a rabbit, bro. Like, hunt a rabbit. Get a duck. Shoot a fucking duck. Don't eat squirrels. It's gross. Squirrels are gross. Ray, I'm not on board with that. Absolutely not. Ray, by the way, you got to join me on one of these. We got to talk about Paulie D. So Ray Zanny going to join me on, let's put it on the schedule. Let's get you back on the show. What about Friday? You're free, Ray? Friday at noon. You're on board with me. Foggy Minded gets lucky with the Ashton Janty drop. Stud running back to start it off. You get it kind of late in round 1. I love that. Nico Collins drops to round 2. Love that as well. He's the GOAT. Josh Allen. So this is a really strong start. Really strong start for Foggy Minded. I love DJ Moore this season. Lots of upside there. And Chuba Hubbard, very little competition for touches. So Janty, Hubbard, Collins, DJ Moore. What a great start. Ridley as well. Here, K-Shack, not one of my favorites, but, in this part of the draft, I think it starts to get thin at wide receiver. So K-Shack and perfectly acceptable WR3. First tight end off the board, Jonnu Smith, had a great year last year. And why wouldn't we see more of the same? The guy had a ton of targets. Jonnu Smith, ascending tight end. Fine by me. Javonte, there we go. Got the third running back in Javonte. All three starting running backs for their teams. So that's fine as well. Caleb Williams in there, paired up with, did he get a guy for Caleb? No correlation there, but you've got the correlation with, and I see here. All right, so Josh Allen, you reached a little bit for Shakir just to make sure you get the correlated pairing with him and Josh Allen. I'm fine with that. I like that. Like that approach. Caleb Williams, backup quarterback, fine. Keon Coleman, so you get another piece to correlate with Josh Allen here. So you've got Josh Allen kind of locked up with all his pass catchers. Yeah, I love the DJ Moore pick, Foggy Minded. I love DJ Moore if you've been watching these. Pat Bryant, sort of a DFS Army special, I'm going to call him. A little Bobby Wow special right there. Algier, I don't love, but you know what? What if Bijan gets hurt? This guy could win you the tournament, the whole thing. Kate Otten, Russ, Ford, meh. I definitely don't love Mostert at all. But overall, I think this is a pretty good draft, Foggy Mind. I like the split, 3 quarterbacks, especially since once you take Josh Allen, I don't want to see a second quarterback. You could have maybe waited and not done Caleb here with Josh Allen on your team. That'd be my only adjustment. This spot, you could have added another piece of talent. Let's see who went with the next few picks. Did I see Connor on this team? No, right? That was not the team with Connor. But let's see who went the next few picks here. Trey Benson, mid. McMillan, mid. So you didn't really lose out on anything. But, yeah, I guess they were all kind of gone anyway. But, you could have waited a little bit here on QB2 with Josh Allen as your prime QB. But like I said, I'm not really saying I might have gone Benson there and just get that high-end backup running back or Blue or something. Yeah, Blue. You could have taken Blue to pair up with Javonte or something like that. And then you would have still been able to take Trevor Lawrence or Penix or, plenty of quarterbacks that went later. So I probably would have done that. But beyond that, this draft looks really good. Soups. Oh, McCarthy. J.J. Addison, McCarthy, and Dak Pickens. Oh, yeah, there we go. J.J. Addison, McCarthy. Actually, that is great correlation. I don't know why my eyes didn't see it. That's great correlation. And McCarthy, Dak. So actually really well done with the correlation. I don't know how I missed it. It's hard to see it when you're just looking at this real quick, and I'm live. So my bad. Yes, actually great correlation there with those names. I didn't even realize. All right, let's take a look at Soups here. 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 7. The mix is pretty good. That's a lot of tight ends, but I'm fine with it. I think, especially if you're taking them late, I don't mind taking the extra ones, especially towards the end of the draft where there's not that many other viable players. And keep in mind, tight end production is so volatile that, one go, you need 4 just to catch one. Think about DFS when we play DFS most seasons. Sometimes there'll be, let's say, 12 viable tight ends on a slate, and only 2 of them will score more than 10 points. Need to have a lot of them to ensure good production from that position. And every once in a while, a tight end will step up for you and handle your flex spot as well. So it's fine to have a bunch of these guys. All right, Soups. Start off with a bit of a mini reach on Christian McCaffrey. Not really too reachy, but I like the upside of McCaffrey. McConkey, then a trio of high upside wide receivers, McConkey, Rice, Devontae. Trevion Henderson, talked him up at the start of the show. Couldn't remember his name. That's how we do it. But we talked him up at the start of the show. Henderson has the chance to become the next 70, 80% 3-down back for his team. Godwin, I love Godwin, could lead your team to the championship. And then, of course, here, Stephon Diggs, who no one likes. Jacoby Myers. This is a really good draft, Soups. These were a lot of names that I was kind of targeting if they got back to me. So obviously I was hoping for Godwin there. I wanted to get Jacoby Myers there as well. So really took a lot of the names that I was hoping to get back around to me. Darnell Mooney, I love him as well. Let's see how we did with the quarterbacks here. You got Herbert, who is, I'm assuming, paired up with McConkey. Got May paired up with Steffi Diggs. And let's see if we were able, and Travion Henderson somewhat, although that's not really direct correlation. But let's see if you kind of got any more correlative stuff going. You did. So Drake May then with Hunter Henry. You've done a good job of thinking about correlation in a lot of these drafts that I've seen you do, Soups. So that looks like a good team, going to be tough to beat. And of course, we have our underdog champion, Ray Zenny, in here, drafting with us, starting off with Achan Taylor, double tap the running back position, and then a third one within the first 4 picks. So a heavy running back approach from Ray. Jackson Smith-Njigba ascending wide receiver with no competition at all. Sam Laporta, a little bit of upside there. We got Mayfield and Jared Goff and Stroud triple tap. QB, that I don't know. I don't know about this. Ray, I feel like you went a little too strong QB here, 3 in a row. We'll see how that works out. I might have, instead of Baker, maybe you could have gotten Godwin there. Still a lot of really good wide receiver talent when Baker went off the board. Maybe a little bit of reach, especially without really any correlation whatsoever. Jalen McMillan, so a little forced correlation there with Baker. Wright, I love Wright. Like to see that you like Wright too. Dubs, Yoshivas. I don't know that Yoshivas is going to be on the field at all this year. I'd be careful with, the Cincinnati guys, being that they drafted some names. Tolbert, high upside player. I'd like to hear from you, Ray, what you think of this one. This one, to me, I think if I could do it again, because it's so soft and wide receiver early, I think the wide receiver group is really going to give you some trouble. Going to need to get lucky here with some big games out of Dobbs and Bateman. I think this wide receiver group is a little bit sketchy for me. And it could have been better just waiting on these quarterbacks a little bit more. So like instead of Mayfield, Godwin, right? Oh, okay, there we go, right? Maybe even waiting on Goff and grabbing like a Jacoby Myers there, and then triple tap, QB with maybe like Stroud, Herbert, Drake May, or something like that. So I think, Ray, if you could do this one again, maybe I would have waited a little bit longer to get all these QBs, because the wide receiver group definitely dried up, and I think this group is going to be very mid at wide receiver. Dart night. I wish I was in Rhode Island so I could come throw dart with you guys. Like I want to go. Is there somebody like I want to go to dart night somewhere and just like have a keg and throw dart for money. I suck at dart now, but back in college, I played in dart tournaments. Like I love throwing the dart. The problem was I set up a dartboard in the house, was making fucking holes in the wall, throwing it. Wife was like, "You can't have a dartboard." Yeah. By the way, my opinion, my opinion is like my asshole. Everybody's got one. Who cares what Kevin says, right? You're gonna kick ass, and like what the fuck do I know? But I'm just gonna present what I see. But yeah, I used to throw dart back in the day. Burton more than Yoshi. I definitely like. Jermaine Burton. I mean, did nothing last year. We'll see, but we liked him last year. He didn't do anything. I just think Yoshi was like the last year's guy. I don't think that he's going to be even anybody we need to worry about this year. Like I had him in some best ball, like sleeper best ball teams. But Baker, White, and McMillan, Stroud with Mixon, Dalton. Yeah, I mean, I see it. But it feels like this team needed Godwin was there. You got to take Godwin over Baker at that moment, because Ridley, this pick was the one that kind of cost having a really good second wide receiver. And that's the issue for me. Like you went so strong running back early. Like I did the same thing, but then I was like, oh God, I got to take every freaking wide receiver that comes to me. I can't fuck around. Right. So that's how I did it. So I'm just kind of like, I felt like, oh my God, my wide receivers are terrible. I need to have a lot of these mid-level guys in order to squeak out a good team. Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Ray Zanny is going to be with us on Friday live on the show. Underdog puppy, $200,000 winner. That's why I like, Kevin, you're critiquing his draft. He fucking won 200K. That's right. What the hell do I know? He won 200K. We're going to have him on the show. We're going to break it down. I at some point, I'm going to make my way up to Rhode Island. I'm coming to throw dart in the garage, but we got to film it for the show. Like I got to do, I'd have to practice dart throwing for like a couple of weeks. I'm so out of practice. It's been 20 years since I've thrown dart, like literally almost 20 years. I have like a plastic set at home. That's all my wife would let me toss at the wall. It's like, you're not making holes in my wall. You know how that goes. You don't know how that goes because you're in your garage rolling solo. No one to tell you not to throw dart at the wall. That's the difference. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this stream. I appreciate those like buttons, subscribes, or shares with your friends. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me 3 times. We're drafting teams. We're going to keep drafting all throughout the off season. We're gonna shift it off a little bit. So on Friday, maybe we'll jump to underdog for one with Ray, the underdog specialist. Ray, you'll be able to talk me through a little bit of that underdog strategy. I'm not drafted there. They only opened up underdog in New York like a couple of days ago. So I haven't even had a chance to draft a team there. So, we'll be going in blind. No idea what's coming. I like the idea of comparing the underdog ADPs and how players are drafted compared to DraftKings. Again, similar site, faster drafts, might even be able to get 2 off. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. I appreciate everybody hanging out for lunch and lineup. I hope it was I was trying to be complimentary to you, but all right, I don't even know what's going on, so we're going to end it there, guys. And I'll see you guys next time. I appreciate everybody hanging out, and I appreciate literally everybody in the chat. For you guys are making this stream fun. I wouldn't do it if you guys are not hanging out and giving your comments, and I appreciate everything that everybody's here hanging out and saying. So we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.